Oh, Steve and Larson! Don't you dare be sour. Clap for yourselves and feel the power. Yes. And all you people out there, you're watching Going In Raw with Steve and Larson.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson, and welcome to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to, found right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Anywhere podcasts can be found. Also on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steven Larson. Of course, we shoot the show live on the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Did I miss anything?
No, you did it great. My voice is apparently
It's all the smoke in the air, man.
Going down.
Still
for the
smoky
count.
around here.
I think, yeah, but nobody else I know. Like, I talk so damn much. I need to stop talking.
But, you know, you by your own admission, when you were doing stuff in your garage last weekend, you didn't wear a mask all the time to filter out the smoke.
Yeah.
That, plus as much talking as what you do, it's still kind of smoky. It was smoky out this morning around here.
Yesterday I went for like an hour long walk
run.
Yeah, walk run. These days
I know they say
whenever I try to run, it just blows my knee out.
Yeah, they say the air quality is moderate. There's still crap in the air. It's not good for you. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, we had ourselves quite a Smackdown tonight. They were saving the most, newsworthy moment till the very end. One that I didn't see coming. One I'm guessing a lot of people didn't see coming. So the story going throughout the whole show was Adam Pearce was tasked by Vince to get this contract signed for this Universal title bout at Payback. And so he had to go person to person. They didn't have a contract signing in the ring. So first he had to go infiltrate Firefly Funhouse as Postman Pearce, get Bray to sign it. Next he had to make a deal with Braun to get him to sign it. Finally, he had been having trouble getting in Roman's locker room. He wouldn't answer the door. Finally does. Talks to him at the very end. Roman's sitting there. He's got the contract. He's like, hey, I'm going to be at Payback. I'm going to be in this match. I'm going to win it. And that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. Of course, that is a famous catchphrase of one Paul Heyman. And who's sitting next to Roman Reigns there? One Paul Heyman.
Dude, I marked out so hardcore when I saw that. I'm sure everybody else did too. That was a crazy ass twist. Something that, we get in the fantasy book type questions. Hey, why do you think they'd ever put Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns? No, of course not. He's Brock Lesnar's advocate.
I will say this though, throughout Roman's on again, off again feud with Brock, Heyman would always talk, as much as he ever would of anybody in the ring, kayfabe wise, highly of Roman.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
He would say, I've known your family for years.
Mm-hmm.
You would always put him over. Of course, it'd always come back around to Brock's going to beat you. So in that sense, it makes a certain level of sense. If anybody knows how good Roman Reigns is, kayfabe-wise in WWE, it's Paul Heyman, because he's got a lot of experience dealing with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, backstage, we'd heard that Heyman had been really involved in Roman's creative even before he was executive director of Raw. I'm guessing they might have a decent relationship. So, the question is posed here in chat. Do we officially have heel Roman?
So, the way he carried himself, his just demeanor, his, vibe, his aura, felt, scary, kind of. He came off kind of like a Superman 3 Superman who's chilling at the bar. That's kind of the vibe he had, right?
Does that mean Brock Lesnar now has a drinking problem?
Yes, evidently. Yes.
Evidently. Here's the thing, though. When I saw that at first, oh, wow, that's surprising. So I give myself a moment to think about it. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is this just a way for them to motivate Brock Roman again down the line, whether it's because Brock's upset that his advocate ditched him, or is this some plan that Heyman has now to turn on Roman, only to get an attempt to get that Universal title back on Brock?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe they have thought that far ahead. Maybe Brock is waiting around till like, I don't know, the Rumble or something. I don't know. But here's the thing. As long if this is motivating getting Roman back with Brock, I'm okay with it as long as the story is good. I mean, the whole problem with all the years of Roman and Brock was that Brock was like a do nothing babyface. He was like just dull and boring. And at least now, if the tables have turned a little bit, there's a new dynamic, and I'm fine drudging up that history as long as it's something cool and they don't have these weird wonky matches. What if they actually put on a good match between these two?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's
tug of war over the title again.
Yeah, none of that stuff. That's looking really far down the line though. But I'm really interested in this. This man, that was unexpected, and it was like, wow, they're doing stuff that like we do, like something that's actually kind of cool now. So hopefully they stick to it. And I like the twist on the contract signing. Number one, obviously the SmackDown episode was a heavy scrap iron episode.
The more Adam Pearce, the better. That guy is phenomenal, man.
I really
He's so good,
dude.
He's so comfortable in front of the camera.
Make him the GM. Just make him the GM. He's so good. Vince seems to like him too. Like when you get that much screen time with Vince, he's gotta like you.
Yeah. He's really good. He's great.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Otherwise, SmackDown had some high points. There were some uneven moments though. Like, what's the stuff about Cesaro and Nakamura? Like maybe not getting along. Your tag division's weak enough as it is.
Oh, I think I thought that was. I actually liked that. I thought that wasn't even like a road bump. I think that's number one. When they cut to Cesaro saying, "Hey, does this mean that Shinsuke is more motivated than you?" I took that as a comedic answer. Man, went to go get some champagne, and then there he goes. But they were unified against Sami Zayn, which I think speaks more about their
Speaking of Sami, he's back. He still has an Intercontinental title.
Oh, I thought that was great.
That was pretty good. We had a very brief match between Matt Riddle and Chad Gable. It was good while it lasted. Wish there was a lot more of it. There's some more good stuff with Sasha and Bayley. Adam Pearce was the star of the show, 100% though.
Yeah, let's just dive into it because I'll be honest. I guess my only complaint about SmackDown tonight is that there wasn't really enough like actual wrestling. There was a really fun Jeff Hardy Shinsuke Nakamura match. I really liked that. Beyond that, like I'll always take more Cesaro and any of these luchador guys.
Yeah, that main event was weird. What was Sheamus doing ringing the bell for no reason?
I don't know. That was
just
weird
to herald
stuff.
the commercial break because that's what he did.
That was weird stuff. And then there wasn't a lot. There were no women's matches on the card. SmackDown's going to it's funny because SmackDown's going to suffer a bit without Sonya Deville around.
I know.
Like her and Mandy actually took up a decent chunk of time.
Yeah. With a decent story. So
with a decent story, yeah.
So it kicks off with Adam Pearce. He's backstage. He's lecturing security. He's like, tonight's going to be volatile. We got Roman here. We got Braun here. Bray, the Fiend, somewhere here. There's always retribution. You got to worry about that too. Vince, he's here too. This is what I want. I want communication between everybody. If you see anything, relay that to me. Tell me. So he walks into Vince's office, and like Pearce is like basically sweating. Vince is like, "You look nervous," and he goes, "That's okay. Happens to the best of them. Anyone that comes close to me," that's Vince saying it. I'm a bit intimidating. Says, "But I have a mission for you. You got to get Roman, Braun, and Bray to sign this contract for the match at Payback before the night is over." And he says, "I suggest you start with the Fiend or Bray," and he hands him something in a suit bag, which we'd later find out was a postman uniform.
Pearce.
Yeah. And then Vince says, "Hey, say hi to Huskus. I love him, but don't fail me."
You know what I liked about this also? It sucks. There's actually a lot to talk about in SmackDown. I'm not sure if my voice is going to handle it, but it's these little things.
Man, pick and choose.
It's these little things. They've actually, like, in a very indirect way, kayfabed the nature of Firefly Funhouse. We originally thought maybe it was like some other dimension that Bray exists in. It's just kayfabe. Bray's a weirdo, and he hides himself away. He's got probably a contract where he has some demands. Where they built him Firefly Funhouse, and you have to go to the arena and find it. And not only do you have to find it, you have to doll up in a weird outfit in order for him to respond to you.
If you want to infiltrate in a peaceful manner.
Which
as
in a
opposed to
weird...
Seth or Braun attacking, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Which in a weird way, like, makes it even more disturbing, you know, because some abstract idea of him being in a different dimension is like just too weird. But if you have to, okay, I gotta do this in order to just talk to this guy and not get a mandible claw, I kind of like that aspect of it. I thought that was kind of cool.
That was kind of cool. Back out at the ring, we get Jeff Hardy coming down. He's going to drop a promo. He says it's good to be standing in Thunderdome tonight because after what AJ did to his knee last week, he's tickled to be standing anywhere. He said, I'm not going to be complacent. I'm ready to defend. Cue AJ. He walks out to the stage to interrupt them. Asks, is this real? Because Jeff Hardy seems pretty damn proud of himself for what he did. He's not a conquering hero. He's a liar and a cheat. AJ says Jeff can't blame him for the knee injury. AJ had a knee injury before, and he never cried to a doctor to get an illegal object on his knee. Jeff, you had a plan the whole time. You knew what you were doing with that knee brace. AJ said, I had you beat until you hit me with that. Hardy knows how to play the system. That's what AJ says. And says, look, now the doctor that gave you the knee brace won't clear me tonight. And Hardy just says, yeah, that sucks. I was just about to issue an open challenge to anybody who wanted to take on me for this Intercontinental title, except you.
I love this because AJ then says, I knew it. You're working the system. That's his new thing. You're working the system.
Yeah.
I thought that was so... AJ was on fire tonight. On commentary, he was great. And Michael Cole having so much sass for AJ. There was one part during the match when AJ was on commentary, and Cole saying something, and AJ says something. What? Oh, what? What, do facts scare you? You don't like facts? And I guarantee that's something that people threw at AJ over the flat earth stuff. I guarantee, because he was so specific with it, and it sounds like something somebody would say to a flat earther.
Yeah, so after AJ accuses Hardy of working the system, Lil Nate is asking AJ to leave, and then Hardy decks him. We go to commercial, we come back. Shinsuke Nakamura has answered the open challenge. AJ is on commentary. As you mentioned before, this is a fun enough match. Nakamura, understandably, trying to work over Jeff Hardy's knee as much as he can. And again, that knee brace came into play at the finish. So where is that? So Hardy hits Whisper in the wind. Nakamura responds to that sliding German suplex he does. It's great. Goes the second rope, hits jumping, he gets two. Hardy avoids a Kinshasa. Nakamura avoids a twist of fate. And then Hardy hits Nakamura at the knee brace. Hits the twist of fate. Then the Swanton for the win. And Hardy starts talking trash to AJ at commentary. He walks up to the top of the ramp, poses, and that's when Sami walks out with his Intercontinental title. Tells Hardy, get a good look. You're the fraud. I'm the true Intercontinental champion. They hold the belts up at each other, and then they both realize that AJ's walking up the ramp, turn their attention towards him, and then Sami hits a haluva kick on Jeff, calls him a fraud, leaves. AJ starts to creep up the ramp to get a piece of Jeff Hardy, and Jeff gets up, and AJ's like, whoa. It's all good.
Yeah. I really like this whole thing, and I love that Sami Zayn is back, hairier than ever.
Yeah, his hair looks good. I like the long hair.
Weasley as ever. Hey, man, you know what? Let's have a draft. Send Kevin Owens over to SmackDown. I want to see them reignite that particular rivalry. I think it's been long enough.
And I think the tables have turned in terms of their respective characters that make it new and interesting. It could be something like Kevin's going to him and saying, I've seen the other side.
Doesn't work.
I know what you're trying to do. I've been there. It's not going to work. You got to come back around, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sami, next we see him backstage singing. Kayla wants an interview, and he's like, hey, don't ruin my night. But she wants to know why he attacked Jeff Hardy. He said, I did it because that's what I do. I right wrongs. Because he was walking around pretending to be the Intercontinental Champion. Same with AJ. Sami says, I won the title myself. Then I defended the title myself against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. And then Kayla asks him, well, why haven't you defended the title since? And he goes, well, I don't have to explain why. I'm from Montreal. I'm a man of the world. I'm a true Intercontinental Champion. He says a bunch of stuff in French and then walks off.
Yeah. After that, we had Firefly Funhouse. And Bray was like, it feels good to be home with all my friends. He says, but I can't help but feel like something's missing. And there's like a little thought balloon with all these disturbing things in it. And then he said, oh, I know. And then it went bling, and it's the Universal Championship because he's got that now. And he's like, Roman, it was nice to see you. It's been a long time, man. And then ding dong, we have a visitor. And he said, oh, man, it's Postman Pearce.
So good.
So he comes in all sheepishly, and he's like, hey, Bray, I wonder if you'll sign this contract for the triple threat match at Payback. And he's like, why would I sign it? You know, obviously meaning it's him and the Fiend. And he's like, well, you know, it feels like sometimes you and him have like a connection. And Bray thinks about it, and he's like, okay, I'll sign it.
Yeah.
And he says, but I hope the other two know what they're getting into. I didn't catch that last line about the death warrant thing. What did he say there?
Well, if Bray knows him like he thinks he knows him, Fiend, he just signed a couple of death warrants.
Oh, yeah, okay. That sounds right. Okay.
Bye.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like I was all ready to pick Bray to win this particular match at Payback. I was ready to do that until Heyman showed up at the end. That changes the math entirely.
It's pretty much guaranteed that puppet show is going to take an upper mid-card status while Roman has that title, because I'm not sure.
You know, I would not be surprised if Jeff Hardy is the next target for Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. Why do you say that, though? Am I missing something?
Oh, no, just because that's the I imagine Jeff Hardy, whatever match is going to happen between Sami, AJ, and himself, he's going to retain.
Yeah.
Whether it happens at Payback or somewhere down the line. You know, that's the next most prestigious title on the show. Keeps Bray in something high profile.
Given like the good relationship between Bray and Matt, you'd think that would be a natural transition as well.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. They could do a lot of really cool creative stuff there.
Exactly. That's another reason to do it. We get a brief Matt Riddle, Baron Corbin recap, and then we get Matt Riddle. He's coming out for the ring. I just assume this is a scripted promo, and don't have Matt Riddle do scripted promos. Just let him go out there and talk.
Yeah, Matt Riddle kind of it's his wrestling is always really good, and it's always going to be good. But I wonder if like main roster TV, like it might take them a while to figure out how best to utilize his personality, because like this, number one, this entire feud ain't it, and I'm not into it. I don't care at all about it.
You know the crappy thing is, there's a damn good chance Baron Corbin's winning at Payback.
Oh no! What, to set up like a win down the line for Riddle?
Yes.
Like an ultimate win?
That's what they do with Baron Corbin, man.
Yeah,
they have him cheat to win, bad point. And then whoever he's feuding with eventually gets the win at the end. That's the Baron template, man.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, you could be right about that.
Especially with Chad Gable still involved in all this, because Chad Gable comes. So what happens is Matt Riddle calls out Baron for first creating the King's Ransom, but also just like, hey, you're scared. If you got something to prove, come prove it to me now. We go to commercial, we come back. Matt Riddle's still waiting for him. He says, this is getting ridiculous. Baron finally moseys out to the ramp, and Chad Gable attacks Matt Riddle from behind, and then Corbin lays out his challenge for the match on behalf of Chad Gable.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Matt Riddle versus Chad Gable, and for like the 3.5 minutes it was on, it was really good.
Yeah, just really, really quick.
So Matt Riddle flips out of Gable's rolling German suplex. At first I thought he was going to land right on his head, but then he flipped around and landed on his feet. Hits Bro Derek for the win. Corbin gets in, tries to attack Riddle. Riddle fights him off, tries to kick him in the head. Corbin ducks it, slides out of the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's probably going to happen is that Gable's going to attack Riddle and allow Baron to pick up the win.
Yeah. Earlier in the day on WWE.com, sort of in light of the Miz TV, the Talking Smack stuff, there is a .com exclusive where Big E is doing like a promo on his phone or a cameo or something where he's talking about but he's very specific, talking about not wanting to be on Miz TV, and he said, but I'm contractually obligated. And then Miz and Morrison approach him and they're like, whoa, what are you talking about? He's like, I don't want to be on your show. And then he's like, well, what the heck? And he's like, well, do something. Come on, do something. And so they're like, oh, well, it's 2-on-1. And then Sheamus shows up and he's like, hey, what's up, fellas? And now it's 3-on-1. And then, oh, yeah, my peach. Otis and Tucky, they show up and they have Big E's back. That set up 6-man tag action for later on tonight.
Correct. This next bit was good. Sasha and Bayley promo.
This was really good.
Bayley says it's been a very difficult week, one of the most difficult weeks of their career.
Oh wait, no, you missed Big E, Otis, and Tucky all hanging out. Did you not catch this?
Oh, the part with the meat.
Yeah, the part with the meat.
That was later.
I had Are you sure? Because I have it right here.
Really?
No, because they head to the ring. Bayley and Sasha, and then they head to the ring.
Oh, okay. I got my stuff out of order then.
But yeah, because I watched this sequentially. So
yeah,
maybe,
I did. I had to watch this in bits and pieces.
Okay, so Biggie, Otis, and Tucker are all hanging out. And Biggie's like, what's got in this little lunch bag? He got like 2021 snacks that haven't even been released yet. And he opens it up, and it's a Money in the Bank lunchbox.
It's dry salami.
It's like the biggest, like, dry salami. And he's like wiggling it around. And Big E like legitimately starts laughing and says, Don't put that in my face, man. Come on, don't put that in my face.
Sasha and Bayley walk up, and Sasha says, "Oh, just a couple of guys playing with their meat." And then Bayley says, this stung. Bayley says, you're going, Big E, you're on a single run now. That's great and all. Some people are only really cut out to be tag champ. And Sasha's right there.
And Big E even's like, but you just, yeah. That was good stuff. They walk away, and Bayley's got a big old smile. Sasha just looks pissed off. I thought it was good.
That was kind of Sasha's expression for like this whole next bit. So they come to the ring. Bayley says, it's been...
There's also, not that this matters at all, the Baron Corbin interview is at this point, and he just said he's at Payback, he's going to beat up Matt Riddle, show that he doesn't belong in this kingdom. And then it was boss time.
I watched that too. Man, I got this way out of order. Oops. Anyways, all right. Well, thank you for that. Steve Noakes coming through.
You're good.
In the pinch. So, Sasha and Bayley promo. Bayley comes out, says it's been one of the most difficult weeks of their career. And now they have to defend the tag titles at Payback, but lucky that they're the greatest tag champs in the world. And Bayley turns to Sasha and says, I know you're still devastated over losing your title. Things don't always go to plan. And Bayley said, it's all my fault. She says, I never should have let you challenge Asuka in the first place. I know, Sasha, you wanted to have 2 belts just like me, but she should have known her history. She's never successfully defended a Raw title. And then she realizes what she said is messed up, says, all right, but that's in the past. We're going to move forward. We're stronger together. The tag belts represent them, their friendship, and on Sunday they cannot lose. And Sasha says, that's right. We cannot lose. And she knows Bayley is worried, but she doesn't want her to be. As long as Bayley has Sasha's back, they can get through anything. And lucky for Bayley, she's still Sasha's best friend. So that brings Shayna and Nia on the Tron. They say, your week's only about to get worse. Nia adds the only people she can't stand more than Shayna or Sasha and Bayley. And Shayna says, yeah, I think Nia sucks, but I'll look past that to get those tag titles. Sasha says, one bad week isn't going to hold her back. She knows what she wants, how she wants to get it. And at Payback, she will get vengeance. Well, she says that. She doesn't look at the Tron. She looks at Bayley and says she'll walk out with her tag team title, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really good stuff, man. I love they're taking their time with it, because every time they do something like this, I expect Sasha to finally, drop the other shoe or whatever. And say, hey, if we don't come out of this with our tag titles, I'm officially challenging for your SmackDown title. But they're taking their time with it, and I think they're gonna do a good job with this reveal. Shayna and Nia look like a hell of a. They had some good chemistry up there on the Tron, dude. I always say whenever I reference something from the past that I want a new team to go to and revisit, it's always the APA. And I want to see Shayna and Nia finally get on the same page, get these tag titles, get on the same page, and become the new APA, but for the women's division. I think that could be a lot of fun.
I think it could be a lot of fun. I don't know if it's going to happen at Payback, though. If they really want to take their time with the story, this is after Sasha and Bayley have met defeat, have come face to face with a setback. That's where they stay together. That's kind of how the story's played out, unless they really want to fast track it going forward now.
I don't think they I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, Thunderdome seems to be sort of the catalyst for moving things along.
Definitely. But when this match happens, it's not going to happen at Clash of Champions. It's going to happen at Rumble, Mania. And so if that's the case, they really need to take their time, because Mania is still 8 months away. Rumble's still 5 months away.
It could happen as well, depending.
Survivor
on,
Series usually brand versus brand.
Usually brand versus brand, yeah. I don't know. Well, there's some decisions to make for Payback, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we had back to Scrap Iron. He's trying to get Roman. He sees Drew Gulak backstage.
He's trying to get he's looking for Roman. Sorry, you're right.
He's looking for Roman.
Yes.
And Drew's like, man, I haven't, but have you seen Braun? Because I'm trying to get back at him. And Pearce is like, it's a bad idea right now, man, because I got to get him to sign this. But if you do see him, and then Drew's like, hold on a second, wait. He goes in and grabs a chair because he sort of notices Braun around the corner. Braun is over there signing like some autographs or something. And Drew goes over there, whacks him super hard with the chair. Braun doesn't move a muscle. He just sort of waits a beat, then turns around. Or no, he doesn't turn around. Drew like backs up as he's still looking the other way, and he gives the chair to Scrap Iron. He runs, and Scrap Iron, not intimidated, just standing there with the chair. Braun turns around. And he's like, "Hey, this was Drew, but I really need you to sign this thing, dude." I love that. There was no like, "Hey, you did this." He just told him, that was Drew Gulak.
Yeah.
I need you to sign this.
Yeah.
It was good, man. And then Braun said, fine. He said, what did he say about Roman here? Because he said something about Roman.
Yeah, I didn't catch what he said about Roman.
Okay. It was a throwaway thing.
Yeah, he said, the only way I'm going to sign that is if Pearce gets Drew in the ring right now.
Yeah. So after that, we've got... So we forgot... I mentioned it briefly... that Cesaro had a great picture-in-picture. I was out getting it during the match with Shinsuke and Jeff Hardy because they were like, we talked to Cesaro earlier to ask him if Shinsuke Nakamura is more motivated than he is. And he's like, I was going to get some champagne for the Champions Lounge. I leave, I come back, and he's gone. So no, he's not more motivated than me. He's just sneaky or something like that. So
more ambitious is what he said.
More ambitious, yeah. So Cesaro's telling Shinsuke, he was like, dude, you should have told me this stuff, you know? And Shinsuke has just an apologetic look on his face like, oh, yeah, you're probably right. So Sami comes in, and he's all like, reunited, and it feels so good. Anyways, yeah, he gives him hugs. He's like, look, it's the Artist Collective, we're all back. And he's like, look, I got my title. And Cesaro's like, yeah, like, it's been 4 months. And Shinsuke's like, you didn't even give us a phone call. And he's like, I know. And Cesaro's like, look, with you gone, things have changed for the better. We're tag team champions. Sami tries to say, yeah, that's why I left, to give you guys some breathing room.
All part of the plan.
All part of the plan. He takes his own Intercontinental Championship, and he sort of puts it next to them. He's like, yeah, Champions Lounge, this is cool. And Cesaro's like, we're having a private conversation. So, like, you know, and Sami's like, takes him forever to get the hint. And he's like, oh, you want me to go then? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's totally fine. It's totally fine.
I had something to do anyways. I had to go anyways.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Do your thing. After that, we had Drew Gulak versus Braun Strowman. About as competitive as you would expect. Braun hits a bunch of moves. Senton, deadlift, choke slam, power slam to get the win. Adam Pearce meets him on the top of the ramp. Braun signs the contract. 2 out of the 3 have signed.
Gotta appreciate Scrap Iron up there waiting for Braun. Doing his job.
Well, he's saying, I did my part of the deal. Now, Braun, you have to do your end of the deal. I'm not going to give you any room to wiggle out of it.
Exactly.
That's smart.
No quarter. After that, we had Kalisto versus Cesaro. But prior to this match, Cesaro and Shinsuke beat up Lucha, the 2/3 of Lucha House Party.
Yeah, so Kalisto was giving Lindsay the business, saying, hey, I'm going to learn from all the mistakes you made last week against Cesaro.
Grumpy Kalisto.
Lindsay and Grand Metalik stay backstage. I'm going to show you how it's done. He heads to the ring, and as soon as he turns his back and takes 2 steps, Cesaro and Nakamura lay out Lindsay and Grand Metalik. After that, Kalisto versus Cesaro, as you mentioned. Short but fun. Man, that bit where Cesaro essentially threw Kalisto up, and Kalisto was standing on Cesaro's shoulders and he hits a DDT. Never seen anything like that.
I have it in my notes in all caps. What was that DDT? That was insane. That was so great.
Like that.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
The finish sees Kalisto send Cesaro into the turnbuckle. Nakamura gets up on the apron. This brings out Metalik and Lindsay. They're trying to make the save. They pulled Nakamura off the apron. Meanwhile, that's enough of a distraction, I guess, that allows Cesaro to roll up Kalisto. That was a deep roll-up to get the win. Afterwards, Kalisto is not happy with Lindsay. They start kind of shoving each other a little bit. Again, Metalik trying to be the peacekeeper in this situation, and then eventually they hug it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff. After that, Vince is in his office. Scrap Iron comes in. He's like, hey, I've got Bray and I've got Braun, but Vince, Roman just won't answer his door. Oh, so you're thinking 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? Wrong. I need 3 out of 3.
This is great. Says Pearce just wants you to do. Take 2 people, go knock on the door. And didn't he say, I want you to throw one of the people through the door to knock it down?
I thought he said, I want 2 men on either side of you to throw you through the door.
Oh, that's what
He's
it was.
like,
Okay.
That'll work, right? And Scrap Iron was like, yes, sir, I guess so.
Nonetheless, it involves someone getting thrown through the door. It was
Yeah,
hard to tell
right.
because Vince is so gruff now.
Dude, I was out in my garage. I was out in my dojo, and I had like a portable air conditioner, and I had to turn the damn thing out because Vince at the beginning was so gruff. I couldn't understand what he was saying.
He's gruff and quiet now.
Yeah.
After that, we had Nikki Cross backstage. She's holding a mug, which I guess is one of the first gifts that Alexa Bliss gave her. Tamina walks up. Tamina asks Nikki, how's Alexa doing? Right then, that's when Alexa walks in. She asks Nikki, how are you? Tamina gives her a hug, and then Alexa says, you know what? I've never been better. Nikki says, I'm happy to see you. You don't often wear your hair like that. So she has like 2 side ponytails. And then notices there's a chunk of the hair that was kind of like a dreadlock.
Well, it's sort of the pigtails are reminiscent of her, like when they were trying to do the Harley Quinn thing.
Yeah. And
when
then,
she was a bad guy. And then the
totally.
dread, yeah.
And that's what Nikki says. Is like, are you sure that's a good idea? Because that kind of reminds me of The Fiend. And Bliss is like, don't be ridiculous. Friends support each other. And this escalates fast. She's like, don't be
super
ridiculous.
quick.
Friends, they support each other. But I guess we're not friends anymore. And she takes the mug and smashes it on the ground.
Super rude. Stalks off. I like that, though.
So here's a possibility. I know Roman, he's got Heyman with him now. But they didn't utilize Bliss at all at SummerSlam. Potentially they could at Payback.
That could be if she's going through this transformation. I don't know if it's going to be relegated specifically to the Nikki thing or if it's going to be more. That's a possibility. After that, we have... So
this is actually pretty funny. This is
okay.
when Morrison was pretty good.
Okay. So like you've said, you've noted this before. Miz and Morrison
It's
are
70-30,
never...
man.
They're either funny or they're completely cringy, but there's never really just, oh, that's kind of funny. I was laughing when Morrison was talking about, what did he say?
He said, I taped the baseball to my foot, and I went to one of those places where you throw the ball to see how fast you throw it, and he said I could kick it 70 miles an hour. So Sheamus steps in. He's like, hey, I assume you're talking over the game plan for the match tonight.
Yeah.
Morrison's like, yeah, totally. This is what we're going to do. So Sheamus is like, what are we going to do? And Morrison says, so, Big E, super strong. What we got to do, keep him out of the ring. Tucky, though, he's got the strength of 2 or 3 men. We got to keep him on the apron. Otis, crazy, real wild card. We can't let him tag in.
And Sheamus thinks about it. He's like, so what you're saying is we can't let any of these guys in the match. Morrison's like, yeah. And he's like, Sheamus just gets mad because it's so asinine. He's like, just follow my lead.
Yeah, he storms off, and the Miz and Morrison argue about it. Finally, Pearce gets in the Roman's locker room, and Roman's like, all right, I'll take a look at this contract before I'm going to sign it. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
We get our main event. Heavy Machinery and Big E taking on Miz, Morrison, and Sheamus. There was that really weird bit where Tucky was in control, and Sheamus was like, all right, I'm going to go ring the bell.
This was this match was like oddly just
Weird.
sort of weird and crappy. Like what were I didn't even catch it. What were Miz and Sheamus arguing about that led to Sheamus leaving?
Sheamus was upset that Morrison got thrown into him and knocked him off the apron. Because the thing is, I guess, is like Sheamus didn't get tagged in at all.
Oh, okay.
And so he was just kind of frustrated that he wasn't involved.
Wow.
And so after that happened, he's like, screw this, I'm gone. And that Big E ends up pinning The Miz after a big ending.
Yeah.
Otis got involved towards the finish, hitting a caterpillar on Morrison,
yeah.
And then Miz hits skull-crushing finale on Otis. And then Big E hits Miz with big ending to get the win. And then we go backstage again, and there's Roman, Adam Pearce. So Roman says, I'll be at Payback. I'll be in the triple threat. I'll win back my Universal Championship that I never lost. Not a prediction. Spoiler. Camera pulls out, and there's Paul Heyman. Sitting right next to him. Pretty crazy.
Shocking. Shocking.
What you will see next is shocking.
What you're about to see is shocking. Let's answer some questions from some perps.
Oh, yeah. Schnauzer mentions here that Sheamus did tag himself in behind the ref's back, but the ref, of course, didn't see it. Told Sheamus, you got to get out.
Sheamus just knew that match meant absolutely nothing.
It's like, why did I get involved in this? Oh, we got a new sub from That Travel Girl. Thank you very much.
Thank you, That Travel Girl.
Oh, okay. Raven LaFleur says Jericho versus Kevin Smith on the Schmodown is up on YouTube now for those who want to watch it.
I know, I got to check that out.
I wonder how badly Jericho got wrecked by Kevin Smith.
So there's a lot of, as people know, we talked about this a little bit before we started rolling the podcast. There's a lot of support here. A lot of people are talking about it in Discord about Chadwick Boseman passing away due to cancer.
It's so sad, man.
It's absolutely so tragic and so sad. Just a bright, bright star. And yeah, that's really sad. Getting back to some wrestling questions here. Schnauzer96 says, which superstar in kayfabe has the biggest gripe against WWE and would make the most sense leading Retribution? Who do you think has the biggest gripe against WWE? Now, let's out of the realm of what's possible. Who's got the biggest gripe against WWE? And no really dark answers like, Martha Hart.
Well, I'm just trying to think of someone who was employed by the company as a wrestler. Oh,
I'm talking like Scott Steiner.
Oh, Bret Hart.
No, Bret likes the company. Bret's been back so many times.
Dave, if Bray is kayfabe, just the weird guy in the back, who are operating the puppets then?
Oh, he hired some guys who are equally weird.
Yame World with some bits. Y'all are doing the review, but I just want to let everybody know. Oh, he mentions Chadwick Boseman passing away. So, again, that's really sad.
Let's see here. Oscar Granados. Do you think a Payback during the Lee versus Orton match, Mia Yim and Dijak are going to do something to Keith Lee and then unmask? You know what'd be rad is if, like, Mia Yim shows up and she low blows Keith Lee. I don't even know why. Just as she's part of Retribution, just to screw with things. Like, hey, when I'm out here, I'm Retribution.
Yeah. Shane's birthday tweet, Steve notes being more effective than Larson notes scare me. It's because like the last couple times I had to watch stuff out of order.
Yeah, it's not a good look, man. It's not a good look.
I'm easily confused in my old age. Sorry.
I'm about to be almost your age.
Well, no, you'll still be a year younger.
No, I'm getting closer to you, though.
You'll always be a year younger.
No, I'm tightening the gap between us, man.
Not at all. The
I'm
gap
gonna
will
be
always be the exact same.
In about a week, I'm going to be closer to your age.
No, because I'm actually still a week further along in the being 43 than you are being 42. I am always exactly the same amount older than you.
Oh, I'm going to be almost your age.
No,
now now I'm 2 years younger than you. I'm about to be 1 year younger than you.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm not just 43 full stop. I'm 43 in a week.
Okay, this is asinine, but for some reason it makes me laugh. Let's see here.
Quote the Raven, I don't like how Shayna told Nia that she has to leave her alone. Seems like a cowardly statement for a horsewoman to say. I didn't take it as cowardly. I just took it as Shayna was annoyed by her.
Yeah, she's like, stop bugging me, dude.
Yeah.
Oscar also asked, should someone in Retribution steal the Money in the Bank briefcase?
Yeah, Dijak. Have Dijak have it.
Yeah, it's mine now.
Yeah, it's mine now.
Smells like
full of Arby's. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Dang MQ with Sami, Roman, and Heyman back. Who is next to return? Dang MQ thinks Kofi. Did you see that video he put up I saw on Twitter, where he built himself a deadlift platform, so he could deadlift in his garage now.
That's cool. Everybody's dolling up their garages, man. Maybe he saw that I was creating the Elm Dojo.
I'm sure that's why. Kirsten gifted a sub. Thank you. Oh, to W.S. Fletcher. Awesome.
That's cool. Friendos unite.
Yes.
The Friend Dojo. That's what I'll call it. The Friend Dojo. Because it's Friendo, but Dojo. Are you silently judging me, or did I lose your feed? I believe I lost your Zoom call.
Good. You don't call it the Friendome?
And there he is.
Back.
Oh, there
Better
he
than
is.
ever.
There he is. The Friendome. I like it. No, Friend Dojo.
Dangum Q says, Steve, you need to rest your voice tomorrow. We understand. We need you at 100% for Unsolved Mysteries. I thought you was going to say we need you 100% for Payback live stream.
I know, me too. That was a good swerve there. I was like, Steve, you want to, not do Unsolved Mysteries? We get it. But no, it's Steve. We have to do Unsolved Mysteries. If that's the last amount you can use your voice, then so be it.
I got to do Payback all by myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, you'll have Stevie Bradley there with you.
Oh, that's true, yes.
And we're expendable now. Like, hey, either of us can take a day off. Now we got the Enforcer.
Jorge D, with Wade Barrett officially added to the NXT roster online, would you bring him back as a wrestler? If so, which brand? He seems totally cool not wrestling. So he's really good on commentary if that's what he wants to pursue. But then by all means, Wade Barrett
if anything, dude, I'd make him a GM.
Mm-hmm.
A GM. Or maybe a manager, but I like a GM.
He could be GM of Raw. He could bring the Bad News platform back.
Yeah.
And then Scrap Iron, Adam Pearce, GM.
Oh,
SmackDown.
yeah, easily. Yeah. Boy, that's a trifecta right there in Regal. Man, who wouldn't listen to those guys?
This is a good question from Durable AC. What do you think it would take for Retribution to be taken seriously and have a good reveal, or just fantasy book what y'all think would be best? They need to stop celebrating when they do anything, which they did last time they showed up. They didn't celebrate at all. They just stood on the apron.
Yeah.
That was a step in the right direction.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, are they going to wrestle in that gear just without the mask? Is it going to be like a weird shield thing?
Because that's the problem, is if they do that, that's kind of like the shield. But then if they wear, all the stuff throughout the whole time, and then there's wear normal wrestling gear, that's going to be weird.
It's going to be weird. No matter what, it's going to be weird.
It's going to be weird. So they got to work that out. They need somebody with some star power involved, so you take them seriously.
Yeah.
Especially because they got off to a really bad start. They need somebody with some gravitas, some weight, some star power, some presence there. Like I love having Dijak there being like the number 2. I think that's great because I think he could fill that role really well. Maybe he could plot a way so he can ascend to the top, whatever the case may be. But I just worry that if you have 5 people getting called up from NXT and whatever motivation they have, whatever manifesto they put forth, if it's kind of flimsy, it's just going to be an absolute disaster. An absolute disaster.
Yeah, I know.
And then in 5 weeks' time, we're not going to see him.
Smurf Galloway wants to know, who's your guys' favorite ref at the moment? He says his is the really loud bald guy in NXT. He says because when he's reffing John Gargano, him just shouting, "Come on, Johnny," just gets him.
Funny. I mean, Red Shoes is number 1.
Who is my favorite ref at the moment? Is there anybody that stands out?
Oh, it's Aubrey Edwards. She's so good.
Yeah, she's good. Trying to think of somebody else. Is there anybody else in AEW?
Jack Daddy's pretty good in Raw Underground.
Yeah, it might be Jack Daddy.
Although it's always Shane who's calling the matches. So what's the point of Jack Daddy being there?
No point. Dude, I don't know, man. If I had to start a wrestling federation and they said, okay, you get any ref, but take Red Shoes out of it, because obviously Red Shoes is the best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who I'd go with. I don't know, maybe John Cone. Like, I like that he's like the closest thing we have to a Nick Patrick who will like take things personally, or even like Earl Hebner. Because sometimes John could, like with Nia Jax, like John Cone, like he like totally jobbed her out. Like a quick 3 count because he was pissed off at her. I like that in a ref.
This is a tough question from White Brownie 92. Pick 2 moments and get rid of the rest. Austin 3:16, NWO formation, Daniel Bryan wins at Mania 30, Punk's pipe bomb, Becky with the bloody nose, Kofi Mania, and then the WrestleMania 35 main event.
What would I get rid?
You pick
what?
2. You pick 2 to stay. Everything else is erased from history.
What was the Austin one?
Austin 3:16 promo.
Okay, I would keep the NWO formation, And I would probably keep that Mania main event. I think those are the two most, like the formation of the NWO, like really kicked the Monday Night Wars into war into gear. Mm-hmm. And then the Mania main event was such a like big moment for like women's wrestling. So I'd probably keep those two.
I think you're right. I would have said Kofi, but if they had him win knowing that they were just going to eventually job him out to Brock in 8 seconds a few months later, I don't want to say it diminishes his win, because obviously it doesn't. It just goes to show that they didn't have a whole lot of plans for him past that moment.
Yeah.
Kofi Mania is like one of the most like emotional moments I can think of.
That's a terrific
experiencing
moment
in wrestling over the last few years, maybe ever. Just the power of the moment, seeing the New Day out there celebrating, obviously emotional. That was so huge. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's NWO, and I think it's the women main eventing WrestleMania 35.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Let's see here. Wolfpack for Life has a good question. We also say he or she is a SmackDown/Raw person. How would you describe each show to back up those statements? So you describe SmackDown, because whenever we say, yeah, I see him on SmackDown more than Raw.
Yeah.
Why? You do SmackDown. Why do you see somebody as more a SmackDown person?
Well, right now, I'd say someone's more of a SmackDown person because it's somebody Fox thinks would be best at marketing their show, or most beneficial to marketing their show on a major network.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about.
Or their ring gear looks good against blue light.
That's closer to it. SmackDown is more of like a wrestler's show. It's more of like, I don't know.
It is, but then there's Bray, there's Braun.
Yeah, I know.
There is a lot of really good wrestlers on SmackDown, but also there's a lot of characters. Otis. There's a lot of huge over-the-top characters still on SmackDown, so it's not like it's exclusively the show focused on in-ring competition.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, actually. Well, like,
the answer for Raw is easy. Is WWE still sees that as the A show, and they want A talent or a majority of the A talent on the A show.
Yeah, I think with Raw, for me, it's this. It's this weird idea of somebody who you've got this giant block of time versus a fairly compact 2 hours. And this giant 3-hour black hole of like freaking time, somebody who can stand out of all that time and all that stuff going on belongs on Raw. It's a weird thing. I don't really understand it myself.
It's what's the word? Ineffable. Can't describe it.
There you go. Ineffable quality.
So going back to the question from White Brownie, a lot of people are saying Austin 316 moment, but a lot of people are saying Austin 316 could go because he would have had something anyways. That seemed
Austin did not need 316. That would have been inevitable.
A lot of love for Daniel Bryan winning at WrestleMania. That was huge.
That was a good moment. I'd actually put that last, to be honest with you. Out of everything that you mentioned, I think I'd put that last.
A lot of people are mentioning that the women's match at WrestleMania 35 wasn't exactly the best effort, possibly, but from a historical context, it's pretty huge.
I thought the match was pretty good.
I didn't think the match was terrible. I think the match was good, but
with the exception of the finish,
sloppy.
The finish.
So yeah.
Yeah, Austin would have been. He would have been. Everything would have been the same without Austin. Without the promo.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Alex Foster. What other places should Postman Pearce travel to?
Oh, everywhere.
The Taskmaster's dungeon.
There you go. That's good.
Did Boogeyman have like some sort of domain?
He might have.
Like a domain or something?
Could be. Schnauzer, with Heyman aligning himself with Roman, is it out of the realm of possibility Retribution helps Roman win, considering how Heyman and Punk and The Shield work together?
I see. I mean, that's not a bad line of logic right there. But I think they're going to keep Retribution. God, I could be completely wrong about this.
I don't know how it's going to fit
I
the whole
don't
thing.
know if it's going to affect the main event, but it's possible.
I kind of feel like my gut's telling me it's not going to affect that match. It's going to affect Keith Lee versus Randy Orton.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Because they probably see it as a good first real feud for Keith Lee, especially if Dijakovic's involved.
That could be for sure, yeah. Let's see, Joe Juarez, which will be the more tragic breakup, Sasha and Bayley or Paige and Omega? I think it's going to be Paige and Omega. Because Sasha and Bayley are a lot of fun to watch, but they're not terribly likable characters. They're both kind of dicks. Whereas Paige and Omega, like, you really feel for those guys, you know what I mean? They're just too different. So I feel like that's going to be the harder breakup.
Okay. So on Raven LaFleur says, an ineffable beats too great to describe, not undescribable. I stand corrected.
Oh, I've always thought that it meant the way you had it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too. I haven't taken an English class since like
how about an intangible quality?
That could be it.
What's a word for you can't really put your finger on it?
Can't put my finger on it.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be bringing like, fuck, we haven't been in college for 20 years, man.
Yeah, like the last time I took an English class was 1995.
Dude, going through the garage, I saw like some of my old like papers just from senior year of high school. I was so good. And I was looking at these things. I was like, I could never write these now. Ever.
Nope. No, I think about that too. Like my intellectual peak was probably my second year in junior college. Maybe my first year at CSUN.
Yeah. Ian Flores says, how great would it be if Roman single-handedly destroyed Retribution and they disappeared shortly after? I think, look, if it's a good vehicle for the names that we think are going to be in Retribution, then hopefully they do something good with it, and hopefully it'll work.
Yes.
Prince C. Ross says, why did they get Roman Reigns so wrong for 5 years and have gotten him so right in 2 segments?
I guess Bruce Pritchard, that's what's changed.
There you go.
Lando, if you were to call someone up from NXT to main roster, similar to Keith Lee, or a total repackage, who would it be? However, it has to be at least a mid-carder, and they've had to have had at least one takeover match.
If you had to bring one person up
from NXT to do either a slight or total repackage, who would it be?
Let's do a total repackage.
Total repackage.
Let's say the repackage is really good, too.
His first name popped in my head. I don't really know why, but Dakota Kai.
Oh, wow. That's not bad.
I think I've enjoyed her work a lot as a heel, but also she's like with the right packaging, she's like a natural babyface.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that would be a situation where they might say, "Okay, you've done great work in NXT as a heel. We think you can go far as babyface on SmackDown."
Damian Priest as like another Mordecai. Like, get rid of the women, get rid of the partying.
He's the vampire king.
He's now like, he's like a religious guy. I don't really know anything about Mordecai. Was he a vampire?
No.
Okay. No. I mean, I know Gangrel was. Let's see here. Yame World says, is it just me or is Heyman being Roman's new advocate going to be detrimental to his new badass character? No, it's going to be great. I'm going to love it. That's all I got here, man.
Zoe Kinrana with Roman here. What does this mean for Big E's push? You know, one could hope if we got heel Roman now. He wins title at Payback. You know, we could hope they build up Big E as huge babyface. He wins Rumble. He takes on Roman at Mania for that Universal title.
Yeah, it'd be cool, man.
Because Big E said in an interview lately that, like, when WWE's trying to make a decision, like, who was going to be the star they were going to focus on in the future, is, you know, as he told it, between himself and Roman, and they decided on Roman, and I remember, if I remember this correctly, Big E said he was relieved because he didn't think he was ready for that spot yet.
Oh, wow.
but now he thinks he is.
That's
and
crazy.
He is. He totally is. He was
Yeah.
ready for it back then.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's a little Easter egg, some foreshadowing of what we can expect. He said that he's seen the plans of what they have for him, but he also said he'll believe it when he sees it.
Yeah, because those always change.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, Mr. Forbes, he said, just saw that Kenny may have been part of the crowd for Thunderdome tonight.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter too.
It's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, is that it?
Sure.
All right. My voice is. I gotta go now.
On
So
the
thanks
edge.
everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steven Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steven Larson.